Okay, so welcome everyone. It's so great to see everyone. I'm sure more people are going to log into this workshop, and I'm really thrilled to have Latrice Cole here too. Teach us how to dress like a must-have expert. So, it's so much better to have someone like Latrice giving us guidance than like a loved one, because you tend not to listen to them, like, really, I should wear that. So this is always bring in the real experts. So we're going to save some time at the end for Q&A, and she's going to kind of make this also interactive. But let me introduce her. So Latrice Cole is a certified image consultant and owner of Latrice Monique Consulting. Corporate professionals, entrepreneurs hire her to ensure their look is aligned with their brand. She has 10 years of experience working as a senior human resources professional, and this passion for fashion has turned her into kind of getting dressed as a business strategy. She curates wardrobes and signature styles for everyone from musicians and real estate agents to executives and six-figure entrepreneurs, enabling them to be more confident, authentic, credible, and impactful. So, Latrice, I'm going to hand it over to you, and we're anxious to hear everything you have to say. So, welcome.
Yes, let's start the show. Thank you so much, Jonathan. Thank you, everyone, for having me here and being part of the greater Collaberex community. I'm so excited to talk about one of my favorite topics, and aligning your image with your expertise in your brilliance. And so I'm going to share my screen so we can get started. And I believe I have that capability. Yes. Okay, so Jonathan gave a quick little intro of me, and I will explain a little bit more later, but I want to open the session by putting this picture up, okay? And so let's just say you're sitting in a room. It could be a meeting, it could be a networking event, conference, and you see these two women walk in, okay? They're both dressed professional. I want to know, who piques your interest more? Miss Lady on the left with the gray blazer, or Miss Madam on the right with the white blazer? You can just raise your hand or shout it out. I know you guys are
On the
engaged.
right.
So
Woman on the right.
White blazer.
Definitely
Right.
the woman on the right.
White blazer. Okay. So why is that? Why does her image stand out more? If you saw her walking in a room, why would she stand out more than, because they're both dressed professional, but why does that
Attitude.
More
Expression.
interesting.
Right. The woman
Well,
on the
She's got
left is
the
just
attitude.
smiling. The woman on the
Gray, drab,
has some kind of mysterious
depressing.
expression.
Yeah, the tones don't, I mean, the grays are not like, they don't contrast each other. So it just looks, I pulled something out of the closet, you know.
I heard so much good stuff in there. I heard someone say a drab. Someone say it was a
Red
drab.
shoes.
Very drab.
You're
Yes.
very drab, right?
Really drab, really safe, really drab, but she's smiling, and that and that I like. Her hands are clasped in front of her. Okay, good. She just needs some snazzy jacket with some snazzy trim on it. And the other gal looks really sharp, but I don't like her expression on her face.
Yeah. Duly noted. But there so much good stuff that you all mentioned in there about how both women are presenting themselves. And because everything, I think, was unanimous, everyone said, even though Miss Gray Lady had some good things about her as far as her nonverbal, Miss Lady with the white blazer really stands out. And so if you're in the room and you see these two women and you see the woman in the white blazer, you have, because she has grabbed your attention, she's already positioned herself as top of mind. So you're probably sitting in the room thinking, who is she, you know, or watching her a little more closely now as far as how she interacts, how she communicates, is the confidence that she already was portraying when she's walking in a room, is it the same with everything else from the moment that she opens her mouth? And a lot of times that's what happens with us when we are in front of our ideal clients and audiences. And because the young lady in the gray, she's blending in, it can often be the kiss of death for some of us, because no matter what, we all need to blend in and not, excuse me, we all need to not blend in and to stand out. And because we want to stand out, it's three big reasons, and they're communication threats. So the first communication threat that we often face when we're trying to attract and stand out to our audiences and our listeners is the threat of distraction. And this is where we compete with divided attention. There was research done recently or a couple of years back that said the average attention span is about 9 seconds right now, 9 seconds. So that means it's going to be very, very difficult to capture the attention and retain it for your listener. There's also the threat of competition. Now, we all know just about every market is saturated. And even though there are a lot of opportunities and clients to go around, there's always going to be direct competition for the similar resources that you want, similar partnerships, similar big fishes that you want to land. So we have that threat of our direct competitors who are fighting for those things as well. And the biggest and the hairiest one that I like to think is really scary is commoditization. And this is the threat of you losing your distinction with your competitors. You become so similar to them that your ideal audiences, they don't know your valuable differences that you should be competing on. So now it forces you to compete on other factors like prices. And we don't want that. We always want to be able to show up and show how we're different so we can win the business that we're looking for. And so I want to quickly ask you guys, which one of these threats do you think you face on a regular basis? It could be one of them, it could be a combination, it could be all three. Any thoughts?
Competition, commoditization.
Okay. Anybody else?
I think commoditization, you really want to, you always want to express your unique selling proposition. You want to stand out from all your other competition. And so if you look the same as them, then that's going to get in the way, so in every way, if you can express how you're different, then you should do so. It has to be visually and verbally, every way.
I agree, Jonathan. You just like nailed it for me. You want to take over this presentation for me?
Oh, no. I would have dressed better if I did. So
the point is that we all face these communication threats on a given moment, and it could be a mixed bag. And so how do we get over it? And it's very similar to what Jonathan said. It's appearing, behaving, and communicating like a must-have expert. We have to consistently strive to always illustrate who we are, the value that we're bringing to the table, and why it matters to them, okay, to our ideal audiences. And it often starts with the visual storytelling of how you are showing up. Are you showing up as that confident leader? Because one thing I know, and I haven't met all of you, but one thing that I know that we are all must have in some way. We are a must have expert. We are a must have solution. We are a must have connection, a must have partner. So are we showing up that way? Are you showing up as a nice to have, or are you showing up as a must have? That's a question to think about when you're trying to overcome these distractions and these communication threats to get to your ideal audiences. So a little bit more about me is that, yes, I am a certified image consultant. I started my business in 2018. And while I was still in HR, I took the full leap of faith for my business at the end of 2019. And while fashion and style and image have always been part of my life, I really saw how it could be impactful when I was in HR. I saw brilliant professionals who were shooting to climb up the ladder, have the talent and the resume, but they never had the image or the brand to really represent the leadership position that they were going for. So that really prompted me to think about, how can I use image more strategically? How can I use image to help professionals really align with their brilliance? And so that's what I do. I help entrepreneurs and professionals align their look with their brand so they can always show up powerfully and maximize those opportunities that they have in front of them. And so today, what I want us to focus on is how to level up our image and show up as the must-have experts that we all are, because it's so important. And so if you're still on the fence a little bit and need a little more evidence on why style and image can be just as impactful as the rest of your brand and the rest of your brilliance, this quote by Carnegie Institute says it all. 85% of your financial success is due to personality, ability to communicate, negotiate, and lead. Shockingly, 15% is only due to technical knowledge. So I thought that was very interesting. And I feel it's very in line with our conversation for today, because again, our image is the first thing that people see. It's the first thing that communicates hints of who we are. Going back to those two pictures of the women, one was looking very drab and one looked a little more snazzy and had a little more confidence, and it communicated that she is possibly a leader and someone to get to know. She was already positioning herself in your mind as a must-have, while the other woman, she was presenting herself as a nice to have, right? Like, it may be nice to get to know her, but at the end of the day, if I don't meet her, will I lose anything? And so we always want to stay away from that area and focus on how do we do that. And so there are so many ways to skin this cat and to align your style with your brilliance. But I want to really focus on two ways, and that's intentionality and style formality. Now, the beauty of intentionality is that it really helps set the framework for how you should be thinking about what ways to show up as a must-have expert for your visual person. And there's three ways that I believe you should use intentionality or take it into consideration when it comes to your image. You want to think about your brand message. So we all have brands. We all know this as entrepreneurs. So think about, what is the message that your brand is sending about you and the work that you do. Then I also want you to think about your personality. Are you fun? Are you quirky? Are you classic? Are you more sophisticated? Are you more reserved? What is your personality for yourself that naturally makes you feel great? And then your X factor. So this is your brilliance. This is the impact that you are making for people. How are you doing that? Are you someone who has whose X factor is all about out of the box thinking? That's how you change the lives of your clients and people around you. Or are you someone who is great at connecting and building relationships and using passion to rally around your team members or your clients? Are you someone that is really good at nailing down the structure and the strategy that helps your clients get from A to Z? What's that X factor that you have? So I want to put this in perspective for you and give you a real example. So meet Lamont. Lamont is one of my clients. And when he came to me, he was rising in management and he wanted to align his new look with his elevated status. He was also getting a lot more visibility in the company. So as a foundation, for us to figure out where we should move, we identified what his brand message is or what he wanted it to be. And so he wanted to make sure that he's always fulfilling that brand message of being a highly knowledgeable, skilled, and approachable leader. Okay. His style personality for him is he's quiet, he's more reserved. So he wanted something that was a little more sophisticated, refined, but still approachable. And then lastly, his X factor, what makes him, what's his genius and his brilliance is around providing strategic and rational targeted solutions for his stakeholders and for anyone else who works for him, for his team. So what we decided to do for him is that he would tap into some darker colors, right? Darker colors, but play in the blues, the grays, the cranberries. We also gave him more sophisticated eyewear. He had like very plain before, so we give him some different color and different types of eyewear that he can use because he wears them a lot, to give a little bit of interest in a little more stylish approach for his style. Okay, so then my second client, yes. Does someone have a question?
No, go ahead, Latrice. Yeah, just one.
Okay, then we have my other client, Precious. Now, Precious is an international speaker. She's a pitch coach, and her exposure is rising, and she's getting top tier clientele. So she was doing okay with her image. She wasn't doing bad, but she knew that, pitching, again, very, very competitive. And she wanted to make sure that she was always standing out with her brand. And so we discovered that her brand message is being bold, authentic, being a warm and enthusiastic visionary. Her style personality and her personality as a whole, if you meet her, she's bold, she's creative, she loves making a statement, but she's also very approachable and very warm. Her X factor, her brilliance, is wrapped in creating distinguished and standout pitches that are highly insightful. They're out of the box and of great quality. So anytime Precious steps on a stage or a room, you can feel her energy, and it's someone that, oh my God, I need to talk to her. So to find out her insights, she makes her presence known. And so for her, what we did to expand her wardrobe and her style is add brighter colors, lots of prints. She loves big, bold jewelry, belts. Her hair was, very plain Jane, and sometimes she wore some wigs. And we decided, you know what? You have a beautiful haircut underneath there. Why don't we just shape it up and make it a little jazzy? And that's what she did. She cut it shorter, a little shorter than her natural length, and she put some designs in her hair. I know you can't really see it, but she put a lot of zigzags in her hair. So that's how she stands out and makes herself feel good.
Latrice, 1 second. I just want to tell people, if you have a question, just put it in the chat or raise your hand and we'll get you. Yeah, so.
Were there any in the chat?
Well, it turns out that Gina knows Precious. And so she had an impression about her. So I wonder if it was after you started working with her and that impression was exactly what you're trying to express. Gina?
Yeah, absolutely. Like everything, the best way I can describe Precious is that everything she says, does, appears to be like is all in alignment.
Yeah.
It all aligns. So like the visual aligns with her message, so it's beautiful.
Yeah. And that's the whole thing, right? Because again, we want to constantly be striving to illustrate who we are from the moment we are walking into these rooms and on these stages. So it doesn't take a lot of time for you to put together, okay, I can see it all, because with that alignment, it creates trust, right? And it gives you more opportunity to say, oh, okay, I can trust her, because from the moment I seen her to the moment she opened her mouth to share her visual and her confidence, she has appeared to be the real deal as what she says. That's the whole thing, is how do we create more trust quickly, and how do we get to stand out quickly in the minds of our ideal partnerships and clients. So I want us to do a quick breakout room. And Jonathan, I'm not sure how many people we have left. We have 23, so maybe about
23. Four in the room? Sure.
That's about right. And I want you to think about this. I want you to take a few moments and think about your intentionality, so you can have that as a guiding post to work through your must-have style, or how you should show up. And so I want you to think about, what is your brand message? Okay, what is your brand message, or what do you want it to be if you're still working through it? A good example I like to use are, what are the 3 words you would like people to use to describe you? Or is there a sentence that you want to use to describe yourself? Think about, what do you want your style and image to say about you? Do you have an idea of what your style personality is? Are you more refined? Are you more sophisticated? Are you more classic or powerful? And what's your X factor? What's that brilliance that you are using to make an impact for your clients?
Okay, so how long do you want, should we do this breakout for
Let's
10,
say
10
maybe
minutes?
10 minutes is fine.
Okay, good. Let me create them right now
Awesome.
and we'll come back in 10 minutes. Let's see. Okay.
We had a good time. I want to get back with Liz and Mark.
Okay, Latrice, you're back. Unmute yourself. Try bottom left.
Your mic is muted, Latrice.
There
I
you
got
go.
lost, sorry.
Okay.
I got lost. Great. So how was that? How I was popping into some, but I heard some great conversation. I heard Susan, how she's showing up looking like money. And I heard about ties and how they're going out of style. And I totally agree. And I can't wait till we get to the next section, talk a little bit more. But what else did we hear? What else did we learn and gather?
How you
So
dress, what you wear shows your emotion, or whether you're warm and accepting and, calming, or maybe, not calming. Not a good thing.
Right. Always got to work that line of professional but approachable, right?
Yeah, and dress for the occasion.
Mm-hmm. We're gonna
Dress for the people, not just the occasion. Like Reginald and Bob both said, they dress to the audience they're meeting with, whether it's a client or otherwise.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what I mean.
I have a question. If you want your style to be warm, creative, and approachable, yet you want to come off as the expert as well. If you just take warm, creative, and approachable, you can easily look, not professional. How do you bring that professional and expert wow factor into the warm, comfortable, or creative and approachable?
Yes. Sometimes what the balance would be to translate the warm and approachable into your accessories and use the clothing on your body to speak of more authority, right? So whether that's blazers, it's all about the formality, which is actually going to be next, about the formality of how you can translate those things. So you may be able to say, I'm going to wear a red blazer. That's really warm. That's really dramatic. But that blazer, to come off as that expert, needs to be structured, right? A little more structured than very casual, or how some of the trends now, if you wear a blazer, it's boxy, right? It's very boxy, it's oversized, it's an overfit. That wouldn't be necessarily the right look or the right blazer if you're trying to say that I am an expert. You want it to be more structured, you want it to fit you. Good quality clothing is also a good way to show a level of professional and expertise as well. So it's learning how to play with those things. How can you use color on the body, but how could you also use color and being warm and approachable in your accessories? So for example, I have gold accessories and something that's creative. Now, if I wanted to really be approachable and a little more fun, I may just have pure costume jewelry that's big, bold, and makes a statement, So it's trying to balance those two things on your person and within your accessories.
Good. Larry?
Yeah, Latrice, I just have a quick kind of a question to ask on behalf of my wife who's not here today.
Sure.
She will always tell me how much more difficult it is for a woman to dress than a man. So I'm just wondering, is your clientele more female oriented or male oriented? How do you deal with the differences between the two sexes?
Yes, it is more, my work is geared more towards women, but I work with men as well. And believe it or not, there aren't too many differences. Yes, I do. It's harder for women because we have a lot more options and there's a lot more leeway that we have to kind of figure out how to walk that line. But the principles are usually generally the same for both sexes. What's the level of formality that you need to show up as, whether it's your audience, the event. So I really work with both sexes as far as getting the foundation and then figuring out who they are and who they're interacting with to guide me as far as what type of wardrobe pieces that we need. If you're a lawyer, for example, if your wife's a lawyer, I may be gearing her towards more traditional lawyer wear, but finding a way to add more of her personality through accessories or any of those things. If she's more of a super duper creative person, then that's also going to look different. But at the core is always figuring out who they are for men or women, who they are and how they are trying to show up, because then that's going to give me the pathway of where and how they should be dressing. I hope that answers the
Latrice,
question.
I have a question.
Yes.
One of the things that came up in our session, and it was because the words just came out of my mouth. I didn't expect that, but they just came out of my mouth. I think a lot of people in Collaberex are successful in their circle, and the idea of us, we're inherently doing okay. We want to be better. I think we're at that stage. Yes. I have a significant birthday coming up next week, and it's not 40.
Is it 25? Is it 25?
I like you. I like you a lot. Here's my question: is that I'm really good with people who are my age, give or take, and so on and so forth. I want to expand my customer base in an age appropriate way. And that was sort of something that kind of came up, like, we know who we're going to meet, we know who we're going to speak to. There are certain things that just by the nature of what I do, I'm not going to show up and wear complicated things,
Right.
but that was just a thought that kind of popped out there, how to increase your client base by, just different outfits, different types of outfits.
Marie, remind me, what do you do?
I do interior design and home staging.
Okay, awesome. So this is awesome because many, I like to say, seasoned women, well-experienced women feel like they have to dress, not for lack of a better word, dumb down, or feel like I have to be age appropriate, and that's subjective. What does that mean? Okay, for you as an interior decorator and appealing to that older market, what I still find and see that they still want to be stylish. They still want to be around someone who's stylish and inspirational. And how you can do that is try using different colors in monochromatic ways. Maybe it's blues or whatever colors look that you feel fabulous in. Try to use that as a way, because I hear you want to show up simple, and simplicity is sophisticated, and you can always be sophisticated and use simplicity by way of color and not do too much. You can I'm just give the example of a monochromatic, because it's very easy, and monochromatic means wearing a color in different shades from head to toe. It doesn't have to be the same exact color, but it could be in the same family. So maybe it's different types of blues, or you can wear colors that complement each other, also still very simple, and use your accessories to be still classic and refined, but you're appealing to them because you're looking sophisticated, you're looking fine, but you're also being inspirational by wearing colors, because most women don't like to wear color. And I feel the older that women get, the more they're relying on darker colors to try to hide and camouflage everything. So color is a great way to step out the box and do it. Does that help?
I think so. I mean, I think we all had that. Maybe we didn't all have the question, but one of the things Mark said, and you all know this, but I just found out he was a business consultant. And one of the things that I really clued in on was that when he shows up, he always has freshly shined shoes. And I love that image. I immediately saw it, and I thought that was a terrific thing. I don't know that he'd ever wear a pair of Chuck. Who are those shoes? The Converse, Chuck Jones, I don't see him showing up at that. But like those, I think we all have those kind of questions. Like, what are our plan A outfits, plan B outfits? Depending upon the client.
Yep. It's definitely trying to create a uniform, and we'll go into that in a minute.
Thank you.
Any other questions before we shift forward? Awesome.
I got one.
Yes.
Okay, so I got my sparkly jacket on and I would love to hear
Wonderful.
your comments.
It's beautiful. What I would want for you, just Susan, just from hearing a little bit when I was in that breakout room, I would love it if it was in a different color.
I love black though. Okay, so
When it's black on black.
what
Nothing.
color would you suggest? I'm open.
That's a hard one because I can't really tell your true color on screen.
Huh?
So it could be maybe a blue.
A midnight blue. I have a midnight blue jacket.
Oh, that's a good take. That's a good take.
With studs and rivets. So I'm very, and I
Yeah,
wear
and you know what?
my-
Midnight blue could be a great alternative to black.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, because red is, it doesn't look that great on me. Yeah.
Yeah. There
Okay,
you
thank you. Thank you.
So Latrice, we're going to save some time. If people have extra questions, Latrice said she'll stay after 1 o'clock for people to hang out so we get to everyone's questions. But Latrice, why don't you continue and give us some more stuff,
insight.
some more thought, things to think about.
Perfect. Okay, so let's keep pushing forward and see if we can get through some of the best. I love your questions, so keep them coming. This is energizing for me. Okay, so I can just share. There we go. So yeah, so pretty much again, just recapping on why intentionality is so important. It will set the vision and direction for your image and your brand. It helps you tap into your personality and to align your must-have expert with your style, and helps you stand out with distinction. So that's why intentionality is so important. Now, the second part of this, which we have already started talking about, is style formality. And style formality are the different levels of dressing that I want you to consider when you're going out and interfacing with your audience and your clients. And so I think we all agree that regular suits and tie, for the most part, is pretty out, right? Unless you are doing some traditional work with traditional businesses that may come back in, but there's still always going to be a twist. So there are 3 levels that I want you to think about or keep in mind. The very bottom level is informal casual. We're all talking about just in the mind framework of casual. So informal casual, bottom level. Then we have the essential business casual, and then we have refined business casual. Okay, so we'll go through each of those. So I want to know, based off of these 2 looks, which level of casual do you think this is? Informal casual, essential casual, or refined business casual?
Essential.
Essential, okay.
Refined business casual.
Refined. Hey, Darcy.
Refined.
Hey, Latrice.
Susanna's refined.
Yeah.
One more, okay. So yes, it is refined business casual. So refined business casual is the top tier of casual. This is the highest level that I believe most of us should be, depending on who we are dealing with. Why? Because it gives us a little taste of professional, but still bordering that line of approachability. So going back to when I was talking to Susanna, when she was asking how to do warm and other colors, this would be a good example, right? Like, this is not a traditional blue gray type of look, right? But it's still very refined. It's still very professional. There's no jeans around. There's still slacks. The quality is very good, or very high, and very sharp and structured around that. Okay. For my gents, we're still doing the professional slacks. You're doing a wonderful, blazer. It could still have a little style, but it is going to mirror something of a suit pattern for the most part. And you add over a sweater over your button down as well. So the wonderful thing about refined business casual is that it's a sophisticated and professional look with attention to detail, and it allows you to maintain your influence and your professionalism. This would be great when you are talking to your employer, if there's any 9-to-5ers in here, or your clients, and you want to project a commanding look. You want to keep it with refined business casual. It's all about the sophistication, the elevation, the elegance, and darker colors. So you're not really doing too many bright colors with refined business casual. You're keeping it in the dark arena because dark colors always will always convey authority. Okay. Okay, so what level is this? We got refined business casual out the way. So we have informal and essential.
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 Yes. Essential business casual is the name of the game here. And this is a step down from refined business casual. And this is refined, essential business casual is great if you're meeting with your peers, you're not really meeting with clients. It allows you to work comfortably in the back office, but you're still looking professional. Most people play in this realm. They're standing here. Okay. Essential business casual is great for Zoom. So if you're on Zoom calls with other peers and whatnot, essential business casual is great. And so last, and certainly not least, is informal business casual. And this is the true casual of them all. I mean, I still don't recommend you doing anything ripped holes or stained t-shirts or anything. But the informal business casual is much more casual than the other two. It's great for if you're traveling, it's great for if you are taking clients out, and allows you to be super comfortable, but still put together. This is where jeans will come into play. And I still say you should do darker jeans to still have that professionalism and that message of authority, because darker will always convey that. But this is where you have a little more room to really be as comfortable as you would like. Any questions so far or comments? And as you can see, there's no ties for gentlemen.
I have a question, Latrice. What do you recommend for conferences where you're going to be in a conference hall and do a ton of walking and you're not like 20 anymore?
Well, if you're not speaking or doing any of those things, essential business casual should be good.
Okay.
Yeah. Still put a little zhuzh on there, a little razzle dazzle, but it's still good. It's still good. Oh, okay. So we are running close out of time, but I do want you to have this format to think about when you're thinking about your style formality. Just like Darcy asked me, you know, what would it be like? You want to think about your audience in the event that you are going to. Okay, like is it a networking event? Is it a conference? Is it a client dinner? What's the event? Then understanding your role for that event or for the audience. Are you just a member? Are you just participating? Or do you have to show up as the expert, right? Or is it every day where you are a manager or a leader of your business or a team? So you always have to look like you are the expert and the leader. And of course, knowing who you are. You don't want to choose a style formality, but still lose yourself. Okay, you can apply any of these levels at any time and still add your own personal touch to it. So you don't have to say, oh my God, I normally do essential business casual, but I have to do refined, so now I have to wear these darker colors. No, you could still find ways to add your personality. You don't want to lose yourself, because that's how you are making your initial statement. It is about you and your valuable differences. And so again, I just wanted to give you an example of how we did this with Lamont. Is again, we thought about his audience because he's rising in management. He works on the corporate side. So his role is he manages a team of 10. So he always has to show up as a leader. And knowing his message, going back to what his messaging was, his X factor, and what his style personality is. So we decided for him that most of his clothing and his headshots and all those great stuff is going to be refined business casual. That's where he's operating. And every now and then he'll dip into essential business casual if necessary. But for the most part, he's playing in the refined business casual arena. And so with Precious, same thing with her, having to figure out how where she fits and with the style formality levels that she needs to have. She's working with six-figure clients, world-renowned premier institutions. She's the go-to expert in helping her clients close major deals. So she's always showing up as an expert and knowing her message. So for her, she really, we play a lot between refined business casual and essential business casual. You're not going to find Precious too much in suits and stuff. So we have to find a way to make it sophisticated in that essential business casual arena most of the time. Okay, so we only have 2 minutes, but something to think about when thinking about how to transform your style and thinking about the style formality. What do you think your current style formality is when you're showing up for clients? And do you think you should change it? Do you have to adopt something higher? Now, I mentioned for most of us, refined business casual is a great spot to be in, but sometimes we do have to dabble in essential business casual. It's really going to depend on your audience, the event, the role you're serving, and who you are. But for the most part, refined business casual and essential business casual should be your sweet spots. Really leave that informal business casual if you're going outside for events or traveling or those other very casual moments that you have to do.
So we're just about out of time. And but if you have questions, I know I have questions, and everyone stay for questions, and we'll just, you know, all kind of get together and figure out. So Latrice, you want to Latrice will follow up with everyone and make sure that you, Latrice, maybe in the chat, put your contact information so people can just copy the chat and connect with you. Put your email.
I'll do even better. The last screen, so you guys can all take a screenshot. I'll share it with you. Go back to share. Okay. There you go.
Okay, good. Okay, so everyone can take a screenshot of that and then contact Latrice, you know, look at her website or contact her from her email or connect with her on LinkedIn. Okay.
Awesome.
So who has questions? I'm gonna start with a question.
Yes.
So now I have a couple questions, but for guys, you know, I know ties, and I know there was this whole thing in the chat with what David should do with his dad's ties. Well, I have my dad's ties too, and my own ties. I must have 100 ties. So how do you think it's portraying? Like a lot of the ties that I have are very colorful because that's what I like, because I wanted to be approachable. I wanted to be style, you know, I wanted to be styled. I didn't want to look too corporate.
Yes.
So I have some nice suits that I wear, as kind of dark suits that I wear with either a colorful tie, or when I'm going out and it's appropriate, like I'm going to a fundraiser or something like that, I'll think, really, should I even wear this tie? Or should I, you know, because the other look is to wear a nice suit with an open shirt.
So
how do you think I'm coming across one way or the other? Colorful tie versus, you know, say a nice white or a light blue dress shirt.
So I'm a little biased, right? So when I see a gentleman in a colorful tie, I love it because I believe it's a great way to show that you have a little personality. So, but what's nice about it is that you are pairing it with a darker color suit, right? And of course, that's going to depend on the event that you're at and that level of formality. So I still believe that you're coming across, you're as approachable and professional at the same time. It also shows that, hey, this is someone who is approachable. Like, I don't have to be intimidated by them because they have presented a more approachable visual story to tell. Now, the open neck that's very casual. That's very casual, not very casual, but in the world of going from a suit to open neck, it really portrays, you know what? Hey, I mean business, but I'm also super relaxed, right? The tie is like, I mean business. I'm here to do mostly business, but I don't want you to forget that I am approachable and I'm a little fun too. I have personality.
Okay. I'm afraid if I go to a fundraiser and I wear the tie, they'll expect me to donate more. So,
Well, that could be something the fundraiser, with that, the fundraiser, I would say go with the open neck.
okay.
Open neck is open neck for a fundraiser. Yeah, because think about it, fundraiser, you're supposed to be helping and getting, it's not supposed to be overly professional. Right.
Yes.
So open neck is perfect for that.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
Anyone have other questions? I have a Zoom question. So here we're all on these Zoom calls. How, we're a lot of us we're professional service providers, small business owners. I mean, I know it's important to make sure you're framed correctly so people can see you, you're not off to the side or your head's not cut off or you're not looking up or down. But in general, a Zoom call is a more informal setting. We're in our homes. What do you think is appropriate or will help us come across as that must-have expert while being on Zoom?
Yes, I would say essential business casual is great. And add a touch of refined business by depending on the meeting, like if you're leading a team, if you're leading a team or a team meeting, maybe it's wearing a blazer, but the blazer is knitted. It's very comfortable and not the suit sports blazer type of thing, but something that's very comfortable. But essential business casual is a great way to balance that line, especially if you have other peers who are on the call, right? Because you want to be able to match the audience or maybe a step higher. But I would say try essential business casual and add a little refinement by using refined business casual if it's going to be darker colors, so you can still have that comfort but still have that influence, that sophistication that you need.
Okay, and how important do you think is consistency in terms of, let's say you're going to the Zoom meeting, the same group, and you meet twice a month like Collaberex groups do. I guess we all develop what our brand is. We see the person, we see their back, we recognize their background. So is that
1000% consistent? 1000% important to be consistent, because it's a visual statement for your brand. So for example, this thing behind me is part of my brand. Anytime you see me speak on my Zoom calls, this is always here because it's part of my brand. It's part of image that I'm trying to portray. So it's 1000% consistent. So if you, Jonathan, right, if you love, I'm going to say glasses because you're wearing glasses, right? So if you decided, you know what, another way to switch up from ties and be a little interesting and have a little personality is wearing different frames, and you started wearing different types of frames for all your Collaberex meetings, people are going to start to follow the bouncing ball. Jonathan loves fun frames, and that gives information about you as well. So the more you can identify there you go. Hey, Mr. Cool.
Is that better? I can't see, but
you can't see, right? I wasn't saying sunglasses, Jonathan, right?
Oh, okay.
But if you have something signature that you would love to make part of you, maybe it's a brooch for women or a scarf, maybe it is a different types of ties, or maybe it's graphic prints for the gents, button downs. Make sure that you are consistently showing that up, because again, it's going to lend itself to let people connect with you and get to know what type of person you are, so they can find ways to connect with you. So it's 1000% helpful to be consistent as possible.
Okay. Other questions? One of the reasons that I was curious about this is because I believe that everything that we do and say and all our behaviors express who we are, but it expresses an intention to your actions. Like if you care about what you're wearing, it shows an intention to detail.
Yes.
People who want to do business with you want you to have an attention to detail. They want your actions not to be random, but to be purposeful and intentional. So your dress is a reflection of that.
It is.
In addition, it's like the Simon Sinek's, start with express your why. It's like you're going to attract the way you dress. You'll attract others that are attracted to the way that you dress.
It's
So,
true. People
yeah.
will make those differences to say if you're dressed in or let's just say dressed to impress, right? If that phrase is still around, it's going to position that in people's mind, like, oh my God, like, okay, this is somebody that has value. This is somebody that I know when I approach them, I need to be together myself, right? It's not somebody who, is not going to have confidence or not know their worth or their value that they're bringing to the table. It definitely signifies that.
Yeah. Okay. Marie?
In my business, people always ask me, how do you work? And that's sort of a shadow question, because really what's behind it is, are you nice? Do you know what you're talking about? Will you respect me? Those are in my business.
Yes.
And you've already answered all those questions. So let me, how it actually works, just without getting into the weeds too much, because I guess it's different for everyone. But I've read stories about people who who do this sort of image consulting where you pair out of closets, you go shopping, or do you talk a little bit about that, please?
I do all of it. So depending on, what service or the level that you need to be, I have some women who want to come in and they just want the foundation, very, very small of them, very small amount. Most women are, even gents, they will come to me and say, hey, I need the full thing. I need to, I don't know my style. I don't know how to dress my body. I don't know what looks great. My wardrobe is a mess, especially with the pandemic. It's all over the place. I have different sizes here. I threw out all my suits because I'm not doing that. And so I usually have to help most of my clients really streamline and get very clear. I like to call bold clarity as far as how they should be showing up. And it all starts with all that information. What is your style? But first, what's the brand? What's the message? What's your expertise? And what's your personality? And then taking all of that and building upon, okay, so because of this brand message, because of who you are, this is your style, right? We work together collaboratively. While I am an image consultant, I like to give you the freedom to make the judgments, right? Because you have to be able to wear it comfortably. If I come in and say, hey, Marie, wear this and wear that, it may not be you, but I give you the information that you need, the guidance that you need and the shopping and all that stuff to help you be able to easily show up as your powerful self with your brand and your image. I want you to be a walking, talking brand of your brilliance. That's how I like to put it.
I like that. Thank you. Great
Welcome.
answer. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Any other questions? Go ahead, Susan.
Are you local? Where are you?
So, local, where I am in New Jersey. So I service New Jersey, New York.
Okay.
I also do virtual.
Yeah. Okay. No, I'm in Westchester. All right. Something to think about. Okay.
Okay. Latrice, thank you so much. If there are no more questions, then everyone be more intentional about what you're wearing. You have me thinking. I'm gonna get my act together.
Very good. That is the whole point. Be intentional. Thank you guys so much. I hope this was
Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay.
This has
Everyone
been
have
great.
a
It's-
wonderful
Sure.
afternoon. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.